Thank you, Tony, for that introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Mattis. I'm the producer on Prince of Persia. I'd like to introduce you to Tama. Tama is the lead combat designer on Prince of Persia, and he's going to be helping me with the presentation today. So to start off, I just want to talk about what we're trying to do with Prince of Persia. 2.5 years ago, the management of the company came to us and they said, all right, you know what? Prince of Persia has a certain magic to it that we want you to keep. There's a brand DNA there we want you to respect. It's a young action-adventure hero who saves the world in a fantasy Persian environment, collaborating with a beautiful princess. There's your blueprint. Keep that. Everything else, do what you want. It was a wonderful mandate for us, and it gave us a lot of opportunity to make sure that when we hit next gen, we hit it with a bang. And of course, in doing so, we are introducing to the world an all-new prince in an all-new adventure for this next generation of consoles. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to your new Prince of Persia. That's him on the right. And his lovely accomplice, Elika.
I think
I'm going to start talking today about Elika. I've said a lot about her in the past. I talked about her at Ubi Days and in some previews in the past. But now you get to see her in action. I said that Elika never gets in the way. And you see she doesn't get in the way. I said she never dies. She never falls behind. You can see she's always on your tail. And I said that she is there to make you, the player, feel cool. She is there to support the prince. The prince is an action hero. He's already a pretty powerful prince. She's also there to help save the prince if he dies. The prince is already a pretty powerful action hero, but by collaborating with Elika, he's able to just go that much further. She saves him if he dies. She helps point the way through the world to make sure he doesn't get lost. You'll see that in a couple of minutes. She helps him go further, go faster, and just make sure that what was already a pretty fantastic action hero is now that much cooler. Now, the second thing I'm going to talk about,
don't say it's quiet. Don't ever say it's quiet.
Is our world structure. So Prince of Persia is no longer a linear game. We've taken the player out of the linear Prince of Persia experience that you saw from the past trilogy into a world where they are in charge. They get to decide where they want to go. Now, Tama, if you can just look around a little bit here and show them the left, show them the right, show them back, show them forward. Those are all possible paths for the player to take. And depending on the path that you take, gameplay is going to evolve differently and the story is going to evolve differently. So no two players are going to have exactly the same gameplay experience. And hopefully it will lend itself very well to replayability. Now, for the sake of this demo, we followed a certain path, but before we could complete it, we are interrupted by the hunter, which leads me into the third point, combat. As you can see, the combat in Prince of Persia really centers around the idea of a duel. It's you and it's Elika facing off against one enemy who's every bit as strong, every bit as capable as the combined power of you and Elika. It's going to take everything you've got to defeat this guy and every other enemy in the game. We really want you to have that sensation, that sense of urgency that comes from the feeling of a really, really spectacular boss fight. And we want that every single fight in the game. We want the camera really close, so you get those really cool dramatic shots. We want to make sure that you and Elika have the opportunity for some spectacular, collaborative, acrobatic combat against this enemy. And choosing to do this duel-type fight has allowed us to do exactly that. Now, Tama, obviously being the designer of this system, is very good and managed to make short work of our friend the hunter, and he's run away. So, we're going to chase after him. Very important in Prince of Persia. In the previous trilogy, if you were a very talented player, a hardcore player if you will, you were able to pull off some incredible acrobatic sequences. But if you're a more casual player, shall we say, perhaps just getting used to the Prince of Persia franchise, there was a lot of stop and go. Jump, die. Jump, wall run, die. Jump, wall run, pull, die. And that's not really the rhythm that we want. We want all players, casual, hardcore, whatever, to have that sense of accomplishment that comes from just flowing through the world and hitting every